All right, welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to get into a variety of topics, but this first topic we are going to discuss, it seems Tesla has dropped the price or released more price drops of all vehicles, Model 3 and Model Y specifically, across a bunch of different markets out there. Shout out to Paul Foss for tweeting me and adding me on Twitter to give me all the breaking news on this. And so we're going to go through a bunch of different price drops that Tesla is doing, and it's across a bunch of different markets. And we're going to get into a variety of different topics, including another potential Model 3 refresh spot again. Model Y is now cheaper than the competition, and much more. But before we get into all that, let's usually run the intro really quick. But of course, as you can imagine, we are traveling right now on a different setup, so thanks for joining in. But if you're just joining in, my name is Dennis. I love talking about Tesla hacking, as I like to call it, but basically just getting the best deal on Tesla at the best financing rate. So definitely hit that subscribe if you're interested. And today's video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link down below in the description, where you can get the best Tesla buying guide out there that has links to all the credit unions and banks out there with the lower financing rates. And also ask me any questions about buying a Tesla, selling a Tesla, or even financing a Tesla if you need help with that. So definitely check it out. Patreon link down below in the description. But let us get into this. So here is the first tweet that I actually saw. You can see here Tesla, and shout out again to Paul Foss for tweeting me. I usually read all Twitter messages and everything like that. I can't respond to everything, but I usually read a bunch of all the different messages. But Tesla price cuts the Model 3 and Model Y in Singapore between 4.3 and 5%. So as you can imagine, there were a lot of price cuts, a lot from across the world. Here's another one. Tesla price drop on the Model 3 and Model Y in Europe, up to $6,000 less if you buy one today in Denmark, France, the Netherlands, and Norway are included. Great time to buy a Tesla. Of course it is, right? When price drops happen. But shout out to Tesla North. You can see there's a bunch of information all over the place, but here is the one really good resource. You can check out their website, teslanorth.com, and where they basically isolated every single country and every single price drop, global price drop, of course, through all the different markets. So if we scroll down to here, you can see China. Tesla cut the price of all versions of the Model 3 and the Model Y in China by 6% to 13% in January. The prices of the performance and long-range versions of the Model Y were raised in February, and then price of Model Y is still 9% cheaper than and 13% cheaper than before the price cuts. You can see Japan, South Korea, United States, of course. There was just another price cut this past week, but I really feel like there's going to be another price cut in the near future. That's for sure. We've got Germany, France, Singapore, Israel. Like, definitely go check it out. We probably won't go through all these one by one, but there's lots of price cuts across the world if you're looking to buy a Tesla. And then of course, leave it to Troy Tesla. He also isolated out a list. Tesla has changed the price in Europe in some countries. Here are the prices in Germany and France. We got a bunch of decreases across the board for the Model 3 and the Model Y. And so here's another one from Denmark. And so it's pretty interesting, right? Like, I think this tweet pretty much sums it up from what I think Tesla's strategy right now is. When you already give the estimate too high, and you gotta try and meet it. So Tesla's really, since they don't do a lot of advertising, right? They don't do any advertising besides social media. They really only have a handful of strategies in their back pocket on what they can actually do to incentivize sales or push the demand button. And that's really offer any sort of promotions or sort of free supercharging or free option credits or even demo discounts. If you don't know what that is, check out waitingfortesla.com. Shout out to Tesla, or shout out to TJ and the team for building this site. You can see any inventory vehicle on Tesla.com that's for sale. And of course, you can see any of them that have demo discounts as well. You can see, well, look at this one right here. Model Y, long range, all-wheel drive, white, black with white interior, 5 seats with the induction rooms. $2,400 discount. What is going on here? This is kind of out of the norm because this is pretty early in the quarter and we are already seeing $1,000 to $2,000 discounts across the board. There are 26 demo Tesla Model Ys with discounts that in the inventory, so that seems to be pretty high. Jumping to Model 3 now, this is getting me curious, like what is going on? Why is there so many demo discounted? Because usually what I think from my point of view, what I usually see is Tesla will discount vehicles in demo status, like a bunch of them, to kind of see, like, test the market to see, you know, will people actually buy these vehicles and how quickly will they buy the vehicles to try and get inventory sold. And so when Tesla does a lot of discounts like that, and it seems pretty high and out of the norm because it's still early in the second quarter, then we can expect some sort of bigger price discount in the near future. So go to waitingfortesla.com, check out the site, check out the inventory. Not sponsored by Waiting for Tesla. Sorted to demo vehicle status and see which of the vehicles down here have any sort of discount. But definitely some pretty interesting stuff. I mean, discounts across the board, across the global market. Tesla's got to hit a number, so that is really they're really one of their only strategies in their back pocket. They pass any cost savings down to you and us as a consumer. But definitely some pretty interesting stuff. Let me know what your thoughts on it. Let me know what you're thinking. Are you going to be buying a Tesla very soon, or are you going to be waiting just to see what could be happening? I mean, we're going to talk about this in our next topic, but there is a Model 3 refresh that potentially could be on the horizon, right? And that could be very, very soon coming up. So we'll see if it's actually worth it to buy a Tesla Model 3 at the moment. But if you're just joining in, but thanks for watching. We're going to get into our next topic, but before we do that, this video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link. Down below in the description, there's a Patreon link where you can support the channel, and there's a variety of benefits, but some of them include actually scheduling a call with me, where you can ask me any questions about buying a Tesla, selling a Tesla, or even financing a Tesla. And after you join the Patreon, you get a link to my buying guide, which has links to all the resources and credit unions and banks that all have interest rates lower than Tesla financing, so definitely check it out. Patreon link down below in the description. All right, thanks for joining in, everyone. Let me fix this really quick. Wasn't centered, and yeah, so we are actually in Japan still, so we're probably traveling for another week, so we'll be on this temporary setup for the next week. But you know, we got to definitely go live and do some quick updates because there's always Tesla news happening, so we might as well at the end of the day. But thanks for joining in, everyone. Thanks for jumping in. We've got a good amount of topics, some pretty interesting stuff, but we're gonna run through them all, and then we'll get to the live stream comments, because that's the benefit, right? You can come in at any time, ask any questions you want, and then we will get to them and answer them. But in this next topic, in case you missed it, yesterday was all about the Tesla Model 3 refresh project Highland that was spotted, and we made a quick video on that because there seems like to be a lot of discussion on whether it's real or not, or do people like the look or not. But yet again, the Model 3 Pure project Highland was spotted once again, and on top of that, there was a handful of more renders, or more people trying to basing off what they feel like the Tesla Model 3 will look like. So we want to take a look, and I want to get your thoughts on it and what do you think on it. But if you're just joining in, my name is Dennis. I love talking about Tesla hacking, so definitely hit that subscribe if you are interested. And so let us take a look at it first. So here's a video from Kilowatts. Looks like the suspected Project Highland Model 3 was spotted testing again. This is the same one that we have been seeing for a while now, being driven around on the California road. So shout out to Kilowatts for posting another video on this. But this one looks definitely interesting than the previous ones, because this has the normal Model 3 rims. It seems like it doesn't look like the Model 3 rims in the other versions of it, but we can see clearly this is the same exact front that we've been seeing with the wrapped project testing vehicle that we've seen a bunch around as well. And this also has like different taillights, but leave it to the internet and leave it to the Tesla fans. There's been a lot of renderings and facelift designs that have been going around on the internet. This one seems to be like another version. We can see that this looks like Model S rims, like right off the bat, so it looks really nice. And then we've got like that newer front bumper with the slimmer headlights, I guess, that makes it look more Model S, maybe even more roadster, but definitely a very nice looking vehicle. Here's another one in which they were comparing the new refresh that was spotted. So if you don't know, this is the picture that was I guess leaked yesterday, or we don't know if it's real or not, because like thinking about Tesla necessarily wouldn't leak a picture like this, because that would kind of kill their sales right now. I mean, Tesla already has an issue with a bunch of Model 3 sitting in inventory, specifically 507 that we can see. And taking a look at the inventory charts, we actually weren't able to take a look at that today just to see, but Model 3 inventory is still on the upper end of what we are used to. And so would Tesla leak their own photo of their Model 3 out? I don't think so, because that would kind of harm initial sales next year, initial sales currently right now. But here's another comparison, I guess, photo of the new refresh versus the spotted covered refresh that's been testing all around. You can see there's a lot of similarity as well on the vehicles down below and on the top. But here's another render. I mean, it looks very nice in white as well. I mean, I don't really see, I think like any color vehicle or any color of the new refresh would look really nice. You can see like very small profile lens. I guess it has like a very modern look. It's like less bubbly, I guess. But let me know what your thoughts on it. What do you think of the new, we'll just call it like the suspected refresh, I guess, at this point, versus the old Model 3. It makes the old Model 3 look very dated at this point, with like the new sleeker refresh look on top of that. But here it is again from Tesla Chan. Basically comparing these two videos, the new one that was spotted say from Kilowatt versus the one below, and it really could be it. I mean, at this point, I mean, we're months away from this potentially rolling out. It's supposed to be a Q3 release of this year, at least a Q3 Shanghai release. So maybe it could be the same time as for the US in that same Q3 time frame. Here it is, another one from Holmar's catalog. That same picture, but just isolated in the front by itself, and it looks really nice. I mean, this part maybe looks a little bit too flat in my opinion, but it definitely looks like a very sleek vehicle coming up in the near future. But let me know what your thoughts on it. We're going to jump into our next topic, but before we do that, this video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link. Definitely check it out, link down below in the description if you want to support the channel. But if you're just joining in, welcome. Tesla has dropped the price of the Model 3 and the Model Y globally. Here is a list from Tesla North that tracks all the different price cuts in all the different countries around the world. We've got Europe, we've got Denmark, Germany, we've got Korea, Israel, Singapore, Japan, all over the world. And of course, the US just did it last week. So really just Tesla has one strategy in their back pocket, or a handful of strategies, and that's either add incentives, which could be free supercharging miles or option credits or demo discounts, or just frankly just discount the price of the vehicle, and that's how they'll get their sales. It seems like they potentially have a pretty high number, or a pretty high number that they need to sell, and they'll get there by dropping the price, that's for sure. But interest rates are still on the high end. I think last time we checked it was what, 5.59%, but let's just take a look really quickly again just to see if it's changed on that end, right? Because last time we checked here, that was a 5.59%. Still hasn't changed yet. I was predicting that this might go up to 5.99%, but I guess not at the moment. But in this next topic, the Tesla Model Y is now cheaper than the competition. And usually when we say competition, we say other electric vehicle competition, but it's actually cheaper than the average price of the new car vehicle in the United States. So we'll take a look at it. But if you're just joining in, my name is Dennis. I love talking about Tesla hacking, as I like to call it, but basically just getting the best behind Tesla at the best financing rate. So definitely hit that subscribe if you're interested. And today's video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link down below in the description if you want to support the channel, but more on that later. All right, so let us take a look at this. So shout out to Tesla North again. Tesla Model Y now costs less than the average new car price in the United States. We've got a little infograph here that says Elon's price war, or Elon's price war. And you notice how it doesn't say EV price war, because Tesla's basically taking aim at the whole market of all the different cars out there: gas cars, ICE cars, hybrid cars, plug-in cars, all the cars out there. Tesla, of course, needs to hit a big number, 1.8 million vehicles globally sales that they're targeting this year. And the US, of course, is a big player in that. And so that's why beginning of the second quarter, they dropped the price of the vehicle, because the Model 3, the Model Y, and S and X, because they've gotten not a lot of units to sell. But here's a summary. Tesla latest price cuts reduced the Model Y starting price by 24%, making it more affordable than the option buyer. But the TLDR on this is that the average price of a new vehicle is around like $49,000, give or take, or $47,000 to $49,000 in the US. That's like all vehicles, of course, sedans, coupes, SUVs, big SUVs across the board. That's the average price of a new vehicle sold in the United States. And what this article is actually saying is that if you take the price of a brand new Tesla Model Y, which is $49,990, you factor in the federal tax credit of $7,500, which I would say most people buying a Tesla would qualify for, or at least qualify for in some sort of capacity. And if you don't qualify for it, then I would kind of say don't buy a Tesla, because you need to be at least 1-to-1 with the price of the vehicle in terms of like income to the purchase price of the vehicle. So if you make less than that, like, you really shouldn't, unless you drive a ton for work or anything like that, then I can see it where it can make sense. But basically it's saying that a new price of a Tesla Model Y is $49,990. You factor in the $7,500 federal tax rate, that brings it down to 42 and some change, or 42.5 or 42,500, and that's $5,300 less than the average price of a new car being sold in March in the United States. Factor in the Model 3, and that's much less than the price of a new car being sold in the United States. So Tesla Model Y and Tesla Model 3 is much less than the competition in terms of actual average prices across the United States. And so that's really where I think there's going to be a lot more Model 3s and Model Ys being sold in the United States, because more people are going to understand the value of it, understand the cost savings with gas, understand the technology. I mean, Tesla's, it's got a lot of brand value. And also the biggest thing, which we'll talk about in a little bit in another topic tonight or today, is the biggest cost savings with maintenance, and how that is a huge player and of it, and really just how reliable Teslas are at the end of the day. Yes, of course, Teslas have build quality issues, and they're not luxury cars, and they got, you know, issues with how they hold up in terms of, well, no, they're pretty much good on how they hold up, but, you know, initially they might not be built 100% correct, but they, you know, they're still very bulletproof cars at the end of the day. We've had 4 Teslas, Model 3, Model Y, S, and now a Model X. And the funny thing with that is, you know, I'm a very chill person. I've loved the Teslas that we've owned, and they're very bulletproof and reliable. But I would say the most problematic Tesla that we've had so far actually has been the Model X that we bought. And not problematic is in like it's been hard to drive or anything like that, just the build quality of it. Like the trims of everything is like starting to fall apart a little bit. You know, of course I should bring it to the Tesla Center to have them fix it, but it's just funny that the most expensive Tesla has the most build quality issues that we've owned so far. But of course, full video coming soon on that. Plus we need to release our ownership delivery of video of that as well. But anyways, Model Y now costs less than the average new car in the United States, and so this, people are going to more start to realize that this is a good deal. I mean, a lot of people in metro areas, more probably specifically California, there's tons of Model 3s and Model Ys, because people realize how great of a deal it is, and also they don't have to play that game of going into a dealership playing with, you know, all the warranties and markups and everything like that. They kind of just pay whatever the Tesla price is, and they are happy with it. So definitely some pretty interesting stuff. Let me know what your thoughts on it. We're going to jump into our next topic, and of course we will jump into the live stream chat to answer all the questions that you have. But before we do that, this video is sponsored by my Patreon link. Down below in the description is a Patreon link where you can support the channel, and there's a variety of benefits, but some of them include actually scheduling a call with me, where you can ask me any questions about buying a Tesla, selling a Tesla, or even financing a Tesla. And after you join the Patreon, you get a link to my buying guide, which has links to all the resources I use to get the best possible deal at the best financing rate. So definitely hit that subscribe, or definitely check out that link down below in the description, but more on that later. All right. Thanks for joining in, everyone. Thanks for joining in, everyone. If you just joined in, Tesla has dropped the price of Model 3 and Model Y globally in every single, or not every, but a lot of different markets out there. Shout out to Tesla North for posting this list. Here are all the different markets with all the different price cuts. Shout out to Paul Foss for tagging me on a bunch of stuff on Twitter, because it looks like a majority of the price cuts are in Europe, and then a little bit in like Asia countries. So like Tesla Singapore 4.3 to 5% for the Model 3 and the Model Y. Tesla Europe and Netherlands, Norway, Denmark, France, about $6,000 less, which is that's a good amount of money. $6,000 less than the prices before. So, you know, Tesla really only has a couple tricks in their back pocket, or a couple strategies, and it's really just price cuts to sell vehicles at the end of the day. In this next topic, I guess I missed this, but Tesla has a technology within their vehicles that allows you to monitor, or allows the vehicle to monitor, your tire tread depth. And it actually does this in a very interesting way that I guess I completely missed this entirely. So we'll definitely talk about it. And maybe if you knew this, definitely let me know if you knew about this exact feature. But Tesla can actually track your tire depth between your tires to make sure that you're not running too low on tread tire at the end, which is a great maintenance feature that I feel like I've never seen in any other vehicle out there. So we'll talk about it. But if you're just joining in, my name is Dennis. I love talking about Tesla hacking, as I like to call it, but basically just getting the best deal on Tesla at the best financing rate. So definitely hit that subscribe if you're interested. And so let us take a look at this. So there's a tweet from Tesla that we saw today. Your Tesla calculates a long-term average difference between the front and rear axle wheel speeds and uses this to model a difference in tread depth between the axles, alerting you to estimate significantly less tread depth on the rear versus the front. Shout out to Sean. This is mad cool. Show me a tire that can do this automatically. And you can see on the screen, there is a screenshot in which his Tesla, or their Tesla, is telling them, the owner, that the rear tire tread depth is low. Schedule service. And of course, a lot of you out there are probably going to be getting this message in the near future, because Teslas have instant acceleration like any other EV. And it gets very addicting to be able to just hit the accelerator and your car will lurch forward, or if you want to go in that lane, you just hit the accelerator and it'll go there immediately. And so this, you're going to probably see this message a lot more, because your rear tires, because of this, will start to accelerate tire wear because of this, unless you have what I always recommend, a square setup if you can get it. So like the induction rims or Gemini rims for the Model Y, or the Model 3 other rims that are not the 21-inch rims. Well, actually, I think the 20-inch rims are also square setup, but the square setup allows you to rotate your tires every 5,000 to 6,000 miles. And so that way you do not have to worry about accelerated tire wear, or you don't have to worry as much, because since you rotate the front to the back and all that stuff, you get basically even the wear a lot more. So I always recommend it. You know, that is really one maintenance item that I 100% strongly recommend, which is rotation of the tires for a square setup every 5,000 to 6,000 miles. So definitely cool stuff. Like, shout out to Tesla for instituting this feature, and where it can actually track your tire tread depth, because I've never seen any other vehicle, any other brand, any other company use technology like this to basically try and monitor your tread depth. But pretty cool stuff, pretty interesting stuff. You know, Tesla is using this, kind of thinking out of the box, right, to track different parts of your vehicle to do this. And so always leave it to Tesla to be innovative with the technology aspect of the vehicles. But let me know what your thoughts, let me know what you're thinking. Did you know about this feature? Because I certainly did not, nor have I ever seen this on my Tesla. And so definitely some cool stuff. But we're going to jump into our next topic. But before we do that, this video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link. Down in the description is the Patreon link, so definitely check it out if you want to support the channel. But if you're just joining in, welcome. We will definitely get to all the live stream comments. I see there's a bunch. But thank you for joining in. Thanks for hitting the like button. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for hitting the comments. We got 2 more topics, a little bit of a PSA, but seems like maintenance has always been a hot topic with Teslas, and so we'll get into it. If you're just joining in, welcome. In this next topic, we're going to talk about Tesla maintenance. We made a quick video yesterday about how Teslas have a lot less maintenance than others, and because Tesla posted a tweet about comparing gas vehicle maintenance versus Tesla, but it seems like a Tesla Model 3 last year actually reached 300,000 miles on their odometer, and they actually isolated all the different maintenance items that they paid for. And spoiler alert, it's not a lot at all. So we'll take a look at it. But if you're just joining in, my name is Dennis. I love talking about Tesla hacking, as I like to call it, but basically just getting the best deal on Tesla at the best financing rate. So definitely hit that subscribe if you're interested. And so let us take a look at this. If you missed this yesterday, here's a tweet from Tesla that basically compared the maintenance of Teslas, which is the short list on the right, versus a typical gasoline car, which is all these different stuff on the left. And that's one of the big major savings with an electric vehicle and Teslas. You don't have to pay for oil changes, fluid changes, transmission fluid changes, all that stuff, and it is a lot less cost for maintaining your Tesla versus gas vehicles, because you can see on the right side, it's windshield wiper fluid, of course windshield wipers, which they missed from here, tire rotations, which we just talked about, and a cabin air filter. But the biggest thing with a Tesla that they're not putting on this list and any other EV is that you will spend more money on tires because of just the nature of how the acceleration is. If you get addicted to that instant acceleration all the time because of how zippy it is, then you will burn through more tires, and that is a fact. So they kind of missed that from this list. But here it is. This is the article. This is a 2018 Model 3 that passed the 300,000 mile mark. And if you're in other markets, that's 500 kilometers, which is a butt ton of miles. Here's what you need to know. So taking a look at this article, it seems like a Model 3 was able to pass that crazy mark, which if you think about it, they only bought it in 2018, so that's a good amount of miles at the end of the day. But here is some of the maintenance items or things that they had to fix at the end of the day. So looks like he only replaced the drivetrain oil pump at 286,000 miles, or $194. I don't know how realistic that is, because that seems way too cheap. But even if that's $1,000 at the end of the day to replace that, that's still relatively really good. That's like $200 a year for 5 years. $200 a year is like one oil change with any other luxury type of vehicle. But you can see 300 miles, they passed it using the original battery. And I think in here they also talked about original battery, original brakes, which is pretty incredible, because the brakes were able to, of course, last that long because of regenerative braking and anything like that. But the only thing they didn't put in here, I don't think, is tires. Of course, they had to have replaced tires going that many miles, because there's no way any set of tires would be able to last that long. Most tires, especially with a Model 3 with 18-inch rims being rotated every 6,000 miles, that could maybe last like 40 to 50,000 miles at the end of the day. But definitely some pretty interesting stuff, crazy stuff that a Tesla Model 3, it's good to see that Teslas, because they're such brand new cars, it's good to see that they were able to go that many miles, which is good for the rest of us, right? We can keep our Teslas and not necessarily have to worry about like batteries going out or anything like that. But the one thing I would love to see on this is what type of battery degradation. It says, according to the owner, the battery has lost around 20% of its original capacity, which is pretty good to go 300,000 miles and only lose 20%. But of course, 20%, 300 miles, that means that essentially that Model 3 can only go like 240 miles if it came out with that. So it sounds like a little bit, 20%, but that's also a lot of it, especially if you live in like any other area that's cold temperatures, that really where you lose efficiency of the battery no matter what. So I mean, it's good to see that this Model 3 went 300,000 miles with low cost at the end of the day, and I guess it didn't really lose too much of the battery at the end of the day either. But Definitely some pretty interesting stuff. We're going to jump into our next topic. But before we do that, this video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link. Down below in the description is a Patreon link where you can support the channel. So definitely check it out if you're interested. But if you're just joining in, welcome. Thank you for joining in. We've got one more topic. This one's pretty interesting too. It's going to be a little bit of a PSA for everyone. And of course, we will jump through all the live stream comments and answer all of your questions. But if you're just joining in, Tesla has dropped the price globally for the Model 3 and Model Y in terms of different and various price cuts. Shout out to Paul Foss for tagging me on Twitter, but it seems like Tesla price cuts for the Model 3 and Model Y in Singapore, 4 to 5%. We've got the European market, Denmark, France, Netherlands, Norway, 6,000 euros or up to 6,000 euros. And shout out to Tesla North for posting this article about all the various price cuts across the board. So definitely some pretty interesting stuff. I mean, Tesla really only has 1 or 2 different strategies in their book to try and incentivize sales, and that is price cuts or incentives. So that's just kind of how it is out there for the Tesla strategy team, I guess, at the end of the day. But in our next topic, we're going to talk about selling your Tesla, or you're even trading in your vehicle, what to do. And really the thing is, should you trade into, or should you sell it to a private party and get a little bit more money, or trade it into Tesla? Or really the best thing I actually recommend these days is selling to a dealer. So we'll talk about that and all the different strategies on why and what risks you might actually run into, because it could be a little bit dangerous to sell a vehicle to a private party at the end of the day, and we'll talk about why. But if you're just joining in, my name is Dennis. I love talking about Tesla hacking, as I like to call it, but basically just getting the best deal on Tesla at the best financing rate. So definitely hit that subscribe if you're interested. And today's video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link down below in the description, but more on that later. All right, so let us take a look at this. Shout out to Car Sales Guy on Twitter. They posted this. Do you want to maximize your car's value and sell it to a private party? Think again. And actually, there was a tweet here that actually was deleted, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the second tweet was, selling your car can be risky, and unless you're leaving a lot of money on the table, sell it to a dealer. But the really thing with that is there's a caveat with dealer, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But quote, use CarMax, Carvana, and Driveway to assess your car value's worth, and email dealers what you need to make a deal. Yes, 100%. Use these big box retailers like CarMax, Carvana, and Driveway to get some sort of preliminary value. I always recommend Car Buyer USA, because they are just like CarMax but online only, and you can actually put in any sort of value of any vehicle right here at the front page. You can actually pull it down to like Tesla Model Y long range. You can just put down any sort of mileage, and that's actually where you can stop. You can just hit get offer. You can notice I didn't put any of the state, title, or anything like that, and it says that they would pay me $47,000 or $47,700 for a 2022 Tesla Model Y long range, which is kind of interesting, right? Because a brand new version of this is $52,000, so factoring a tax credit. Interesting. But anyways, besides the point. But that's really, it's a great website to get a preliminary value, a initial starting number, and then that's where you can take that number and email a bunch of local dealers around you. That's what I actually recommend. I recommend focusing on dealer lots that have good reviews, and I'll talk about that why in a little bit, and just really send them your offer details. Like, this is the vehicle I have, this is the number I want, maybe add $1,000 or $2,000 on top of this Car Buyer USA offer, and see which dealers will actually play ball with you. Because at the end of the day, these local dealers that sell used cars only, they need your car, because if they don't buy it from you, they're going to go to the auction and any other places to try and buy a vehicle and buy inventory to then resell to other people. So they're willing to pay you a little bit more than anybody else would, just like how CarMax usually will pay you the most sometimes. But the other thing on top of that, like trading into Tesla, I've heard recently has been pretty fruitful. Like, Tesla is starting to step up and maximize and give better values on trade-ins. So, you know, also check out Tesla. And also there's places, many states will have some sort of trade-in credit in which you save on the sales tax on the new vehicle. So definitely research that before you do that. Of course, like I know states like Maryland has it for sure. California unfortunately doesn't. And so it really would make sense to just sell it to a local dealer. But selling to a private party can have its, I've done it a handful of times, and thankfully, knock on wood, it's been a pretty smooth process every single time. But yeah, you definitely want to be worried about it, because make sure you've got your ducks in a row, buyer's orders with you know, not sold as is clauses and things like that, so that you don't, you know, have to worry about that person coming back and trying to get a refund or anything like that. But as long as you've got your documentation, buyer's orders signed and everything, and if you need any of those documents, check out my Patreon link down below in the description where you can access to that. You can DM me and ask me any questions and get that buyer's order or how to sell a used car. But that's really what you could do. But the other thing with selling it to a dealer or a private dealer is you want to make sure that that private dealer has good reviews, because there are cases, and it's kind of, I don't know if you've seen any of the content on YouTube right now where Carvana is getting flagged for basically reselling vehicles without titles or fraudulent titles. And so that can happen really to any dealer that does not have their paperwork and ducks in a row. They could be buying vehicles and not paying off the liens or anything like that. And so you really have to be worried about, be aware about which dealers you actually interact with to sell your vehicle. That's why I always try to first focus on dealers that have good reviews, and also make sure they pay off your vehicle within a week or two or anything like that. But definitely some pretty interesting stuff. Let me know what your thoughts on it. Just a little bit of a PSA on where to sell your vehicle, whether it's Tesla or trading it or wherever. But let me know what your thoughts. Like, have you traded into Tesla recently, and did they step up on your selling your vehicle to get a better deal? But we're going to jump into the live stream comments. But before we do that, this video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link. Down below in the description is a Patreon link where you support the channel, and there's a variety of benefits, so definitely check it out if you're interested. And as an added benefit on the Patreon link or Patreon group, I respond to any questions in DMs about buying a Tesla, selling a Tesla, or financing a Tesla. So if you just want to ask a quick question, check it out, Patreon link for any of my members down below. All right, water break, and then we'll jump into the live stream comments. Thanks for jumping in, everyone. If you missed it, Tesla just rolled out global price cuts on the Model 3 and the Model Y. And shout out to Tesla North. Here is a list of all the different countries and all the different price cuts, but it seems like it predominantly happened in the Asia markets and Europe, and anywhere from 4.3 to 5% to even $6,000 euros less if you buy a Tesla today. So crazy cuts across the board, across all the different markets. Oh, cool. I was just testing to see if the chat worked. Nice. Danny, welcome in. Crusher, thanks for coming in. Dell Systems, thanks for coming in. Thanks for all the info. No, thank you, Mark. Thanks for coming in. Tapia, hey Dennis, hope you're doing well. Have you been getting good sleep lately? Yeah, not too bad. We're a little bit jet lagged still in Japan, but still pretty good. I just lost my deposit because I didn't want to take delivery. Dell Systems, there's a way to get the deposit back, but Patreon link down below in the description if you want to get that access to that method. Tapia Andy, why didn't you take delivery? Yeah, oh, financial. Okay, makes sense. Marks, I'm happy to watch the Model Y inventory climb as I'm getting ready to pull the trigger and place my order. Yes, Marks, if you don't need a car, my recommendation to anybody that's been waiting on the sidelines, if you don't need a car, just might as well wait till June at this point, because that's the end of the second quarter. Credit too low. Yeah, then if you try to go through Tesla financing, then unfortunately that's like your best bet. Did appear to be a spike in sales after the last US discount? Marks, I don't think so. And that's there was not a spike in sales, or at least a spike down in inventory. Inventory seems to be climbing up and up and up. And so I really feel like there is another big incentive of sorts coming very soon, because inventory keeps trending up. Ordered Model Y performance 2 days ago, estimated delivery April 2023. I'm in Texas. How likely is this to be true? Any advice on trading to a non-Tesla? William, hopefully you watched that last segment where we talked about my advice on what to do for trading in a vehicle. And in terms of a Model Y performance, yes, you probably will be getting it this month for sure, because Model Y performance and any other high revenue vehicle cars or high vehicle trim like Model 3, they definitely will want to deliver it ASAP. They can take delivery of my Model Y next week. Nice, Z, congrats. Anybody that is about to buy a Tesla or just took delivery, check out our Tesla part accessory partners down below in the description for various discounts across the board on a bunch of different accessories that you can buy for your Tesla. I know we've got Jawa, we've got Tamai, 3D Mats USA, MAGBAK, a bunch of different stuff down below in the description. JT, welcome. Thanks for coming in. Brian, you've been pretty spot on with price cuts. Nice work. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy at the end of the day. Inventory goes up, prices come down. Inventory goes down, prices go up. Basic supply and demand with Tesla, but it's been fun to track all this stuff. So thank you. It's Epic Viper. Hello, it's Epic Viper. I don't qualify for the full 7,500 since it's not refundable, but qualify for the full 7,500 in California. Yeah, it's kind of a catch-22 between the both of them, but yeah, so I mean, at least you qualify for one of them. And I would argue to say the full 7,500 California rebate is a little bit more stronger because you do get that in basically 90 to 120 days once that check comes back. Provoke, more US price cuts coming? I think so, especially by June. I know Tesla will adjust your price if you're not taking delivery if there is a price reduction. Will they also add on perks they announce if they have not already ordered but not taking delivery? Yes, basically like 10,000 supercharger miles, anything like that, they will add it on. Is it possible to pay the final payment right before you take the car in the lot? Yeah, sure, why not? Nice, Crusher. Thanks for coming in with all the hot questions and everything like that. Thank you for the support. Dennis or Crusher, do you think you have lower Tesla score due to blocking the interior camera? You know what, Crusher? That's a good point. I don't think so, but I did notice my safety score was getting even lower and lower and lower. Now I'm down to a 75. I don't think it's because of the camera though. I probably just drive it, not according to Tesla's algorithm. Tire tread monitoring. I didn't know about this feature, but it seems like a good feature to have. Yes, definitely a cool feature. Does anyone know where or how I can find how much all-inclusive a $52.99 Model Y costs? I'm in Sacramento and have some screenshots from other states. Just want to know before I order. Like all-inclusive, like taxes, tags, and everything, basically 10% higher than whatever the price is. But if you need one-on-one support, what's Cam rocking? Check out the Patreon link down below in the description. Dennis, Costco offers free lifetime rotations. Do they? Oh, I think that's pretty cool. Do you have to buy the tires from them? That's pretty good, actually, because the only other deal I know of is like America's Tires Direct. It's like $65 one time, and you can get unlimited tire rotations after that. And that's where I have been, but I didn't know Costco had that program. I thought you had to buy the tires from them, but I guess it would make sense if you didn't need to either. River, have you seen any Teslas in Japan? Actually, we have. We saw a Model Y yesterday, and I saw a new Model X the other day before that, where I think it was a new one, but only like sporadic, some of them around here. Delivery of a Model Y performance set on Monday. Should I tint the roof or leave it alone? Keith, I've tinted the Model Y roof before. It's really just, are you scared about UV rays and things like that? If you aren't, and you don't live in like Phoenix, Arizona, where the sun is just beating down, then you should be fine. Robert, thanks for coming in. Welcome. Dennis, Crusher, do you think it's better to sell Tesla to private buyers? So Crusher, yes, but there's always a catch-22 or a opportunity cost equation with that. Like if you're going to sell it for $1,000 to $2,000 more, but it takes 2 to 3 weeks more, then you kind of play this risk gamble at the end of the day. And I have sold to private buyers, but the only form of payment I accept is cash, because believe it or not, but I mean, I guess it's not a hard thing to believe these days because there's a lot of scams all over the place, but there are scams with purchasing vehicles with fake cashier's checks and things like that. And so I just stay away from it all and just say, bring me cash. Even though cash could be scary, you can always meet at like a bank or anything like that. And then you can verify it at the end of the day. What's Cam rocking? Thank you. No, thank you. What's Cam? Provoke, my guess is that the standard range will go down to 47,990, long range 50,990, and performance down to 54,990. Yeah, I mean, as we get into a weird market for the rest of the year, I can see more price drops will start to happen across the board. So I kind of agree. Like maybe we are just at the beginning and cusp of all these different price cuts that are going to be happening in all different markets across the world. I mean, the biggest indicator, I mean, we're gonna hear from Tesla next week, right? And the earnings call on either the 18th or the 19th, and we'll hear on what their projected outlook or guidance is with all these different price cuts and everything. So it should get into a very, very interesting time for the rest of the year. But thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for hitting the like button. Thanks for all the comments. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and see ya. Thanks.